Welcome back, Lethal Sportsman. On this episode, I'm going to take you through my 2023 archery hunt that ends in me shooting this 10-point that you see here on the last day, November 17th of the Pennsylvania Archery season. I'm going to take you through all of the buck that I passed up throughout the year, a couple really good half racks that I probably would have shot if they had their full both sides. Just a lot of really cool encounters that I had throughout the year. A couple buck within 5 yards. Were all rutted up, had no clue I was there. Overall, it was a really good season. I didn't see a lot of big shooters, but I had a lot of really cool encounters. So I'm going to take you through that story here. You're going to get some bonus footage of my dad and his buck that he killed. Actually, the buck ran right underneath me, and I let it go over to him, and he ended up shooting it. So you can see my setup here, boys. Pretty covered. I got a nice road this way and a nice road that way, so I'm pretty buried. Hopefully it'll happen. Let's see. This is a young 6-point here that I grunted in. I did not want to take this deer as I'm looking for something a little bit bigger, so I ended up passing on the deer. My dad, who was sitting approximately 200 yards behind me, actually ends up shooting the deer. He makes a great shot on the deer, a double long. The deer ends up running probably about 40 or 50 yards. So congratulations to him. Like I said, I'm looking for something a little bit bigger, so my journey of finding a bigger buck continues. Let's fast forward to the morning of November 17th. And I got this picture to my cell camera. I have not had this buck once this year. So he was just most likely passing through during the rut. And we fast forward just about 2 or 3 minutes. And out of the corner of my eye, I catch a glimpse of a deer working down the corner of the property. Once I noticed him, I knew exactly what buck it was based on what I just saw on my trail camera. The minute that I shot, I knew it was a terrible shot. I knew it was high, I knew it was back. I rushed the shot and I did not make a good shot. I thought there was a potential that it could have caught liver, just based on where the location was. I was hoping it was at least far enough forward and down enough where it would hit the liver, and that's exactly what happened. The deer ended up running about 70 or 80 yards and stood here for what felt like forever, but in reality was probably 5 or 6 minutes. I could not fathom what was about to unfold next. The same buck that pushed this deer into me is going to come back into the frame here and try to fight the deer that I just wounded. This was a wild scene that played out, and I'm not sure if it helped me in recovering the deer, being that my buck did a huge adrenaline dump as it was trying to get away from this buck, or if it could have potentially hurt me in the long run. But what's about to unfold was something spectacular to watch. After waiting about 2.5 hours, we finally went back in to retrieve the arrow and to assess what kind of blood trail we were working with. As we suspected, we had very little blood trail, so we ended up tracking the deer to where he stopped and the other buck chased him off. At this point, we looked down in the hollow and we noticed a deer running through the thick stuff. At that point, we completely backed out to regroup and come up with a game plan of how we want to try to recover the deer. Once we backed out, I went and got permission from the neighbor to enter their property to continue tracking this deer. I knew that if we pushed this deer any further, we would end up losing him. So we ended up waiting till probably about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This is a total of about 6 or 7 hours later. As we walk into the neighbor's property, we stepped about 10 yards into the woods when Michael was able to notice the deer. Once I got up to the deer, I knew that he was dead for a couple hours, probably like 2 or 3 hours, because he was stiff as a board. It was a very long day of waiting, but I knew it was the right thing to do. I'm glad that we did, knowing the shot that I made was terrible, and we were able to recover the deer. A huge thank you to the neighbors for allowing us to access their property and recover the deer. Just remember, time is your friend when you make a bad shot. It was a long, hard day for me, but I knew I was doing the right thing in giving this deer the time. I was so grateful that we were able to recover the deer and that the meat was still good.